Hello everyone, welcome to the 10th devlog. The week has been a bit stressful due to all the news stories going around about coronavirus and all of the false information going around, but that's not the point of this video. So I'm just gonna go over each day that I actually have documented. And there's a couple days where I kind of mixed them into one, but anyhow, let's go. Alright, so on Saturday. Saturday. So Saturday was the first day after I had uploaded the video. But the issue is that video had taken, like 9 hours to upload for a 4-minute video. My internet was whack that day. But, so I didn't really get anything done on that day. So let's fast forward to the next day here. Sunday was a pretty nice day. The day had focused on getting a patch out there for the current version. This patch fixed up some issues like terror prematurely biting you, like the Shadow Beast laser was fixed, and also the gear now auto-equips to the highest one in your inventory, if that makes sense. Tuesday was a lot of planning. So the initial idea for this labyrinth was to have a snake as a boss, but I decided against that because I wanted to throw in a siren as a mini-boss into this labyrinth. And the issue with that was that I couldn't really figure out the best way to spawn in a siren with like a shallow pool of water within a grid-based procedural generated system. So I decided to move the siren to a boss level. I don't have an idea for a mini-boss for the labyrinth now, but at least I'm getting something done with the boss below. The siren was originally suggested by, Mercanty? I don't know. And he had suggested it a while back ago, so I'm glad that I'm actually adding it in now. Now, the siren will attack in a few different elements. I was thinking about water and electric being the main priorities, and she will use these attacks based on what song she sings. Getting audio for this boss is going to be something I'm going to tackle this oncoming week. Because I can't exactly raise my pitch that high. I mean, it's just not gonna sound good. But that's for the next devlog. So later into the day, I had started using the human from the town as a base for this, and then I had to drag some vertices around, give it more of a feminine look. And I was thinking it kind of looked weird, but that was because it had actual human legs, not a mermaid tail. So I had to fix that one up. And now this is what it looks like at this point. And then after adding some color into the appropriate areas, I got a mermaid, which was pretty cool. Now, the next thing I had to worry about was the actual animation of the siren. The animation was tricky to get down for the siren, but I eventually figured something out, and ended up coming up with something like this for all the animations. So she starts being idle without being provoked by the player, and there's a different idle animation for her after she's provoked by the player. She will cycle through this idle animation until she decides what song she wants to sing, and then depending on the song she wants to sing, she will either do a heavy sing animation or a light sing animation. And in addition to this, she also has an animation where she kind of anticipates her tail in the air and then slams it down to the water. And I plan on making this spawn a giant wave that will just move itself towards the player. Now, all of these animations were created from the time span of Monday through Wednesday, probably. And a lot of that was because of the weight painting also caused me to be really slow in this process. And if you don't know what weight painting is, in the most simplistic way of explaining it, weight painting is telling the program what parts of the actual mermaid to move when you move what bones. Like, the right shoulder should not move the left shoulder, you know? But it's possible to do that with weight painting. It's kind of weird to explain. Now, after all of that, I had imported it into the project. I got rid of all of the boss stuff for terror underneath the second labyrinth. And I kept the box, and I kind of threw in a terrain in there, and then some water in there to give that shallow water feel. And then I threw in a rock that I had modeled a few days back, and just kind of tossed the siren on there. So the scene is set, but now I need to add functionality into the siren. Thursday and Friday were spent mostly on getting the basics of the fight up and running, which meant I had to create a small animator controller, and then had to actually activate those transitions through the code, like when the player would hurt the siren, they would go from their normal idle state to their active idle state, And after they were in their active idle state, they might want to sing a heavy song or a weak song, or they might want to slap the tail with their water, or
What?
they might want to slap the water with their tail. That's what it was, yes. Uh, and I had modeled a quick double note for the player to have a visual sign of the siren actually singing. So these notes will be spewed from her mouth and kind of move in front of her, and then after they vanish, their respective attack will trigger. So I made a function for spawning the notes, and then I added that function in animation events towards each of the heavy and weak singing animations. And the first attack is a whirlpool, which will kind of give a visual sign of whirlpool on the water level, and then a couple seconds later it will blast up into a geyser, throwing the player upwards, throwing anything with a rigid body upwards, and dealing some damage to it as well. So as of now, it's kind of working pretty nice. I'll probably do some more tweaking to it, but I'll worry about that later as the version comes to a close. The other attack I had wanted to work on, but I didn't get around to it, was a Thunder Strike. Like, I want there to be some sort of a cloud that spawns around the player, moves above the player, and then sends a Thunder Strike downwards, or maybe just around the player. And I want it so that the player has to be out of the water, like they have to jump out of the water as the thunder strikes, but I want there to be some sort of timing mechanic with jumping in there, because I just like the idea of thunder striking the water and then just electrocuting the whole thing. But we'll see how that turns out in the next devlog. And I think that's actually everything I wanted to cover. There's also a lot of this week that I'm spending with my family because we're all home because of the lockdown. So the coronavirus is kind of strewn with it, but not really directly, if that makes sense. But anyhow, thank you so much for watching this video. There'll be a whole bunch of links to the game in the description, like Discord or the Kickstarter that's been going on, which I will address that next devlog. My Twitter, the itch page, Game Jolt. But thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next devlog. Stay safe out there with the whole virus thing. Wash your hands and all that jazz. See you guys. Okay, so I just finished recording the audio for the video. And I also just read that Smash Brothers DLC development might be postponed due to the virus. And for that reason, I'm going to be halting development on Oneiro until I figure out a cure for COVID-19. Man, if only I could.